Motivation upon hardship. It can't but beg the question, when will things be normal again? Imagine yourself in 1914. You're a young soldier in the trenches, in a war sparked by nothing but the inner conflict of human nature. Egotism, selfishness. Your family, in anguish and anticipation for the war that is supposed to end by Christmas. Well, it can't but raise the question, when will things be normal again? It is 1916. The war is but halfway through claiming its bloody prize. A pandemic starts to rage through America, and you are still fighting in the trenches. It can't but beg the question, when will things be normal again? This is Andrew, and you're listening to a production by the General Chat. Sit back, relax. For today, I will take you with me for a moment to reflect upon events that have been, as well as human nature itself. Buckle up, for as dark and serious as it may seem, this is made with inspiration and reflective intent. Alright, it is 1920. Several million have died through the war, famine, attrition, or the raging pestilence at the time, from seasoned soldiers, leaders, nurses, to young children. But things are going back to normal, aren't they? Aye, it's the roaring 20s, is it not? But a few years down the line, and things take a turn, very much to the worse. Following 1929's primary events, such as the market crashes and 1930s Dust Bowl, general dissolution arose throughout the globe, the Great Depression as it would be known. The ascension of fascism through Europe, Chamberlain's phony war until the invasion of Poland. Every man to his post. Be a man of valour, blood, toil, tears and sweat. Britain must arm, America must arm, we shall fight on the beaches, and on the landing grounds, we shall never surrender. As Churchill, some men would refuse to stand for the egotistic nature of fascist leaders. Others would die, but ultimately all would be affected, and all but one question could be asked. When would things be normal again? Now, allow me to share with you my reasoning here. Humans are egotistic, selfish, and generally only think of themselves. And then they ask, when will things be normal again? Following the end of the Second World War, which ravaged continents and discontinued millions of stories, lives, another conflict would follow, an even more selfish one, less deadly, but morally far more centered on the general seizing of power from one to another. The Cold War, as it would be known, which lasted several decades, would be a standoff between the two greatest powers of all time. One, as I like to put it, trying to out-selfish the other. Layman's terms, I know, but true nevertheless. Most lived under the constant threat and fear of a nuclear warhead falling somewhere near them and ending civilization as they knew it. Einstein would, after the invasion of the A-bomb, put it in an interesting way. I don't know what weapons would be used in a Third World War, but the fourth would be fought with sticks and stones. And everyone would ask, when would the things be normal again? When? When would all be normal? When did humanity go forward? When we thought collectively. When we worked upon adversity and hardship to benefit us all as a collective. From the invention of vaccines, pasteurization, penicillin, and antibiotics, general life-aiding technologies, to the sophisticated digital and technological advancements of the current century, helping billions live better lives. Humanity only goes forward when one thinks about others, using oneself as a tool to put their goal forward, benefiting also individually from said goal. And nowadays, we deal with global warming, which we seem to fail to recognize and or stop. A raging pandemic which refuses to cease. Forest fires and bushfires going on all throughout the world. Australia, Brazil, California, some others, which we still fail to recognize, acknowledge, and or act upon to stop. Global warming could have been stopped only if the world's most powerful organizations, as well as most individuals, thought more of nature, as well as humanity. Through a better use of natural resources and a reuse of said resources which we so desperately need as a species, But most importantly, remembering that there is only one planet Earth, and it is a living, breathing being. And as such, it needs time to recover, time which we are not respecting, especially not in the last 2 centuries. Pandemic could have been stopped by now, only if most governments acted rationally and collectively about it, but especially if most individuals acted rationally and collectively about it. The fires raging throughout Brazil, Australia, or California could have been avoided or stopped. Again, if governments and individuals thought more of nature and all the consequences of the destruction of flora, harming the cycling of oxygen in our atmosphere, which the planet thrives on, as well as the destruction of fauna, thus creating countless of possibilities for new bacterial, viral, and or fungal infections for animals and humans to be widely spread. So, I hereby conclude my message. Those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it, and history shows that selfishness gets the world into demise, but it is the utmost epitome of human nature. Only when we think collectively and not individualistically may we go forward as a species, not as different, but as one entity, the human race. Going forward, although there are differences between us, although there will be always selfishness, collectiveness, but must always reign supreme over it, or else we shall not ever get anywhere. And I here bring you a plead, a word of advice. Think not for yourself only, but all those who are or may be around you, affected by your actions. Love and care for all, regardless of any convictions you might have, and any differences you might encounter in them. Think of nature, think of the world, think of humanity. Be human, not selfish, not egotistic. Live for humanity, for only then you will benefit from your own actions. At last, I will invite you all to a piece of reasoning. As aforementioned, Earth is a living, breathing being. Very well, what if Earth, already tired and exhausted of so much ignorance upon its obvious signs and shows of general, hey, you all aren't doing me any good, decide to, in the near future, react more firmly through natural disasters to catch our attention, then would we think of as a collective, or should I say, will the ones who remain think as a collective? Food for thought. What if this natural manifestation comes sooner than we expect it to? Will we learn our lesson the hard way then, or the easy way now? Well, this was Andrew from the General Chat. Thank you very much for your time and attention. Stay safe, take care, and care. Remember, humanity always moves on. We have survived plagues, wars, ignorance, and we'll stay here. We will move beyond this. Stay safe.
Stage falling away. The camera is mounted on the second stage. Liquid hydrogen is the fuel for this stage and burns much cleaner than the high-grade kerosene used by the first stage. This is why you can't see any flames, even though the engines are burning. Next, the ring that connects the 2 stages falls off. In the bottom of the picture, clouds cover part of the Florida coast. Cape Kennedy is about in the middle.